This right here is interesting to say the least. Okay, Jeff Bezos may sell Washington Post. Good, fantastic, because without Bezos money, the Washington Post is going to die on the vine. There was this leaked video. We'll get back to the headline in a second. There was this leaked video from an insider meeting at the Washington Post where it's like, we're going to basically have to get rid of about half to 75% of you so-called journalists that are out there because nobody likes our shit, okay? So for the fact that Jeff Bezos is getting rid of probably the one thing that hemorrhages money in his portfolio more than anything else, like this motherfucker probably has Dogecoin after the dump, okay? Like the Washington Post is worthless, absolutely worthless at this point in time. If he can trade it for, I don't know, like an old Washington Redskins jersey or something like that, he can get an old Joe Theismann jersey, okay, might be worth something, okay, to buy the Washington Commanders and just change them to the Washington Prime, because that would be funny as a motherfucker, okay? Investors say, according to sources, okay, a bunch of caveats that are there, but it's not, I don't think that would be out of the realm of possibilities because, okay, as much as he is inexorably linked with Amazon, because he founded and he created the first $1 trillion company, okay, like, congratulations to him. Shrewd businessman, goofy looking motherfucker, definitely loves himself some phallic looking rockets, okay? But taking on an NFL franchise, that could occupy his time, and that would be interesting, okay, to see like a legitimate, one of the most accomplished businessmen, hop into the sports field. That would be, I'm sure it's not totally unprecedented, but not somebody at this level. Like, I don't think Warren Buffett ever hopped into the professional sports realm, okay? I don't know if any of the Rockefellers were trying to snatch up the New York Yankees. Not entirely sure about all that stuff. I could be totally off on my history. But this would be very interesting, okay? Because Dan Snyder, he's been under pressure to sell the Washington football team, Commanders, Redskins for as long as I've been cognizant of ownership stakes in the National Football League, okay? He has been in hot water forever, mostly because, well, the football team in the nation's capital hasn't been competitive in a very long time, outside of that 1 year where they had a bunch of old motherfuckers running the team where they ended up winning the NFC East, and that was like the late 2000s, so it's been a hot second, okay? They've just been a revolving door of what the fuck was that for a very long time. So with some stability and Bezos bucks behind it, very interesting, okay? Because yeah, he stepped away from Amazon a while ago, but everybody still blames him for anything that goes wrong with Amazon. It's like, I understand why you would think that he's still involved with Amazon, okay? It's just, he's not on paper, and now he's gonna go worry about some touchdowns. Wonder what his opinions on being breaded are. If you get that, you are fucking hilarious. Does Jeff Bezos love money or love football more than he loves newspapers? I don't think that really has anything to do about it. It's just mostly legacy media is fucking dying, and the Washington Post has been a laughingstock for a very long time, and he's tired of funding a fucking sinking ship, a ship that sank a long time ago, and he's out there with a fucking rowboat trying to, tow it out of the water. It's not working, bro. Okay, so now he's just trying to get it out, get it away. Okay, it's fucking lost, it's done. And to just see an institution like that that's just so beloved by the elites, it'd be wonderful to see it fucking die. Chatter is growing that the Amazon's billionaire founder is looking to clear the way to purchase the Washington Commanders by selling the Washington Post. I don't think that he needs to do one in order to do the other, but maybe there's some clause in there that you can't own two things that have the same namesake. With speculation boosted last month by leaked video of publisher Fred Ryan disclosing layoff plans to an unruly town hall meeting. Yeah, that's the video that I referenced. I didn't realize that it's referenced in the story right there. It just came to mind after my decision to make this video. The problem for Bezos, reportedly, is that the Commanders' embattled owner, Dan Snyder, is never going to sell that under the current situation because, regardless of whatever the fuck he does, an NFL franchise generates so much fucking money. Like, he would have to be blown out of the water. This would have to be, no word of a lie, 10-digit deal, maybe even 11. But yes, Dan sorry about that. Dan Snyder is still sore over the storied newspaper's series of exposés alleging a toxic management culture at the team. The Washington Post leaked that. Interesting. And then the owner of that maybe always had eyes on the franchise. Interesting connection that's right there. Didn't think about that, didn't draw those connections, but I could see some long-term play that could have been happening there. But then you could also argue that if he had any inkling as to buying out the Las Vegas Raiders whenever the John Gruden stuff went down, whoever was leaking that stuff as well. So, okay, but we'll see. Some even believe that Snyder suspects Bezos, who bought the Washington Post in 2013 for $250 million, he'd never get that much money back. He might get 10% of that back. Maybe. Like, I could buy it with what I have in my pocket right now. Encouraged the tough coverage in 2020 in a bid to force him to sell the team. All of that is true. Or in hindsight, it could be true. It's one of those things where it fits if you want it to fit. Last week, Bezos stoked fears about looming layoffs at the Washington Post during an awkward visit to the newsroom. Oh, it wasn't quite as flamboyant as Elon Musk walking in the front door of his recent purchase with a kitchen sink. Telling me Jeff Bezos doesn't have the swagger of other high-profile multi-billionaires? Unbelievable. A source close to the situation said Bezos told the paper's senior staff in private meetings that he has no plans to sell the paper. Until an NFL franchise came around, he's like, actually, fuck your papers. Nevertheless, one logical suitor believes the Washington Post is for sale and plans to bid, a source with direct knowledge of the situation said, declining to name the suitor. It would have to be another media conglomerate. Okay, somebody trying to break off into a more legitimate sphere. Okay, also take a look at another outlet that's could potentially be up for sale, and depending on how I want to structure that video, Vice right there, hit piece extraordinaire. They're looking to be sold by their parent company and their entire catalog and their entire media empire. Oh, that's very interesting how little they're getting on return. So the Washington Post, even though it's the Washington Post, it has a certain level of reverence whenever discussed. But if Bezos paid $250 million for it, and its reputation has continuously, and its readership numbers have continuously plummeted over the previous decade, is he going to be getting back anything close to what he initially paid for? I would doubt it. I think Bezos's people could go to Dan and say, as a gesture of goodwill, we are selling the paper. A source close to the situation, I think that would go a long way with Dan. Meanwhile, the Front Office Sports reported last Tuesday that the Bank of America hired by Snyder to auction the Commanders. Yeah, test the water. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Continues to court Bezos. Smart, man. He's a billionaire, okay? A billionaire with a lot of time on his hands, okay? Even if there are indications that Snyder doesn't want to sell to the Amazon founder. Well, you really think he cares? Or is it whoever puts up the most money and he's like, you're the new owner? Bezos has not hired an investment banker to sell the Washington Post, nor has he made it perfectly clear it is actually for sale. Nah, he's just going to wait for it to get even worse and then burn down the building and piss on the ashes. The source added, neither source is close to former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who, according to a December 23rd Axios report, is interested in buying either the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post. Interesting, because Bloomberg also owns media empire Bloomberg. Okay, you might have heard of it before. So to just try to get a physical print media that's out there of that high level of the Washington Journal or the Wall Street Journal, to try to merge them together. Maybe he's going to buy both and call it the Washington Journal or the Wall Street Post, one of the two. But if he tries to go the straight route on either of those, that would be interesting. That would kind of make sense. Like both of these sales, okay, did they pass the smell test? Yes, they do, for various reasons, okay? Bezos, a lot of time on his hands, interesting, new endeavor. He does like to do new and interesting things, even though those eyes are also doing new and interesting things. And plus his side piece that he has right now also has a link to the NFL. Why on earth? You're a fucking billionaire. You're one of the richest men on earth, and why would you take somebody's fucking sloppy third, fourth, and fifths? Doesn't make any sense, but okay. Him purchasing I still want to call them Redskins. I'm going to fucking call them the Redskins. That's fine. Okay. Him snatching them up makes total sense. Bloomberg going from a digital media empire trying to conglomerate and pick up, one of the slow kids that are left out there with, some sort of reverence and legitimate media. That makes sense as well, so we'll see how it plays out in the future. A Bloomberg spokesperson said that, at the time, there has been no conversations with anyone or either organization about the acquisition. The company has no interest in acquiring either. Yeah, but Axios kind of has some good spies that are out there, if we're being completely honest. The spokesperson for Bezos said the Washington Post is not for sale. Yeah, that's what somebody who is secretly shopping the company would say. The spokesperson for the Journal, the owner of which, News Corp. Oh, very interesting. You know who else owns News Corp? Fox News. It's run by Rupert Murdoch. Also owns the New York Post. There you go. Said the paper is not for sale. Sure, it's not. Yo, you take a look at the See Also page right there. Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z will make bid in potential Washington Commander sale. There you go. Last week, reports surfaced that the Commanders have taken first-round bids for prospective acquirers, and that Bezos, who reportedly has been in talks with Jay-Z to team up for a buyout, ours wasn't among them. Oh my God. Bezos has been tight-lipped and tight-eyelided. That's not a word. On the subject of the Commanders, apart from a November CNN interview in which he said football is his favorite sport, and his girlfriend, why on earth, Lauren Dirty Sanchez, chimed in, I do like football. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yes, because he used to fuck Tony Gonzalez. Jesus Christ, if he was buying the Kansas City Saints only to move them out of there, or Kansas City Chiefs, sorry, my mistake, only to move them out of the area and into the fucking Pacific Ocean. That would make more sense. Sports journalists, yuck, the fucking atrocious human beings. I know we were talking about skeevy organizations like the Washington Post to begin with, but sports journalists, bruh, bottom of the fucking barrel. Meanwhile, have been happy to weigh in on behalf of Dan Snyder, yeah, who they've hated for a long time, and until he cucked out when it came to the Redskins name change. He was kind of a funny guy because he was just being the big bad in the room, and everybody was writing their hit pieces on him because sports journalists are fucking garbage. Whose disposition towards Bezos is decidedly less enthusiastic, according to reports. Not only was I told Bezos didn't submit a bid, not meaning that he's not going to, I have had people tell me that the Snyder family has absolutely no interest in selling to Bezos. When you're dealing with numbers theoretically this big, your emotional damage isn't going to factor into substantial amounts of money. This is a multi-generational wealth that could occur with the transfer here, so shut up. That was in response to reports that the highest first-round bid came in at $6.3 billion, short of the $7 billion plus that Snyder reportedly is seeking. Yeah, but you start with that, and then you hash something out, and then you just come to a meme offer of $6.9 billion, and you might settle on that. I legitimately think that this might be the first 11-digit dollar deal because this is a big franchise, okay? A storied franchise. A franchise with a good location in the biggest sports league on earth, okay? There's a lot of money at play here. There's also an unnamed source told NBC's Peter King, fuck him, in November, It'll never happen. It'll never happen. Mark Peter King's words, because he's been so good with his prognostications in the past. Dan Snyder detests the Washington Post. No way he'd sell to the owner of that paper. Yeah, but the Washington Post is also on life support, so, hey, man. Dan Frumkin, that's not a real name. Editor at the nonprofit Press Watch, notes that the Amazon tycoon, currently the world's fourth richest person with a net worth of $120 billion. Yo, imagine that. Like, that dude, $120 billion by divorce made the richest woman on earth. She got $33 billion, and now he's worth $120 billion. Oh yeah, those old axioms of it's cheaper to keep her. Bro, you get a quarrelsome bitch out of your aura, and you can go ahead and you can multiply your worth fourfold. You'll love to see it. He has been known for a libertarian-leaning political views and have long been an awkward fit for the Washington Post. He's kind of an awkward guy to begin with, okay? But again, it makes sense, because if you had the opportunity to buy the Washington Post and then just put out slanderous material on anybody that you didn't like, you'd jump at that opportunity, okay? I can easily imagine better owners for the Washington Post than Jeff Bezos. Yeah, probably the Biden family. Well, they write all the press for him, so why the fuck bother buying them to begin with? In 2018, a Washington Post op-ed raised eyebrows when it criticized corporate welfare tax legislation introduced by Bernie Sanders, nicknamed the Stop Bezos Act. Bezos tweeted out the article, and he bought the Washington Post at the time because that could just be a promotion for your own company. but I understand. Last May, Bezos sparred on Twitter with President Biden over taxes. Yeah, that was fucking based. Demanding a government fact check on the president's assertion that low corporate taxes were stoking inflation. Is that what he was doing? Because I think, regardless, it doesn't matter. Bezos, for his part, has said publicly that it was never his dream to own a newspaper. Former Post owner Donald Graham asked Bezos to buy it in 2013 to provide financial stability and boost online growth, and he's like, nah, it's good. Holding out for a better paper. I know that when I'm 90, it's going to be one of the things I'm most proud of, that I took on the Washington Post, and it helped it through a very rough transition, and now it's in the dirt, and now he's just trying to offload that shit. Now Bezos' attachment to the paper has been weaker than ever, said Edward Wasserman, a journalism professor at UC Berkeley. What the fuck do you know about this? Who knows that Bezos' summer Twitter spat with Biden drew critical coverage at the time. Bezos had become belatedly aware of the obligations of owning the Washington Post. If he didn't realize it would muzzle him, he realizes it now. It would make sense for him to get out of it. It almost sounds like the left-wing intelligentsia is enthusiastic about Bezos getting out of the information game and then just, minding his time with the Neanderthals over on the gridiron. But you also got to understand, okay, without Bezos, there is no Washington Post in today's day and age. That is a fucking paper that will die. Take a look at all the layoffs that's going on there. Just open your fucking eyes at this point in time. The Commanders, the Redskins, the fucking football team, they'll be fine at the end of the day. If it's Snyder who owns them, if it's Jay-Z who owns them, if it's Reverend Run who owns them, who the fuck knows? I just think it's an interesting time. Not because I have any particular love for the football team. It's just the Washington Post. If it just self-immolated, I think that would be funny as a motherfucker. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.